Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, it's time to process our carrots that you saw us harvest. Crystal's decided to can them. We froze a little bit and she's going to can them and we're going to show you how. Not sure what happened to the audio, but you start off by washing your carrots. A good brush gets down into the little grooves and gets all that extra dirt off. After washing, there's a sorting goes on. Sorts into those that are going to go in the freezer because they're small and will make good little freezer carrots. And then the ones that are big enough to slice up for canning. Freezer batch, canning batch. Just working up the little ones that are going to go in the freezer. They'll wind up being roasted carrots or might go in a soup or a stew, but I got a sneaking feeling they're going to wind up being roasted vegetable carrots. These going in the freezer. This is all that we had that are going to go in the freezer. Okay, the next step's peeling them and getting them ready to cut up. Now, she's got a whole bunch to do here, a lot. So, they're small carrots, so it's going to take a whole lot of working up. So, Crystal's got her job cut out for her this afternoon. She'll cut that top off and then cut off any bad places. She'll go over them and see if there are any bad places, and those will get gone and ready to make the next selection. And it's a long process. Okay, the next step is we got to cut them up into slices, getting them ready to can. And it's a process. Food processor's a lot the easiest way to do this kind of stuff. You want them to be kind of uniform slices, but the carrots are small, so it's hard to make them totally uniform. You saw Crystal processing her stuff and getting her jars ready. Right now she's got water heating on the stove so that she can add them to the jars. And now she's going to just start adding the carrots to the jars. And you pack them and leave a half-inch headspace. An inch headspace, excuse me, an inch headspace. She's washed her lids and rings. They're no longer required to be kept hot. But she's washed them up. And she'll pack her jars. Then once she's got the jars, and the jars were held hot, and she takes her water and puts it in a large cup. It's just the way she does it. And it's so much easier to fill each individual jar. And she's going to add a half a teaspoon of salt to each one of her jars. Then she'll bring the rest of the water up. She'll debubble. And then she'll add water back to give herself that inch of headspace. Now the salt she's using is a canning and pickling salt. It doesn't contain iodine. You got to have a special salt for that. Then she'll put on a ring and a lid. After she wipes her rims down, she'll wipe those down because it's easy to get stuff on the rim and then it might not make a good seal. And this is an awful lot of work over and over and over not to have your stuff sealed down. It's just way too much work to risk it. And then those go on, and then the rings go on finger tight. And she'll get the rest of those. She's got ready for her canner. We have a Presto, I think it's 23 quart canner. It'll hold a whole bunch of pints. But she's got those, and she'll get the rest of them and get them in the canner. Alright, there they are, ready to go. We wound up with 17 pints of carrots. So Crystal will get the lid on there. They need to be processed at 10 pounds for our elevation. You need to adjust for your elevation. But she'll go ahead and get the lid on. And these are processed for 25 minutes, was it? They're pints, so they're processed for 25 minutes. Once it comes up to pressure, and follow the directions on your canner. We could stand here and tell you the directions for our canner all day long, but you need to follow the directions for your canner. Now, just so you know, you see steam coming out of the vent. Now, what you want to do, you've got to let that vent for 10 minutes. And once that's vented in, you can put the weight on that matches your elevation. So with this canner, for us, as long as it's between 10 and 11 pounds, it'll be okay, a minimum of 10. So, okay, we'll let this vent for a total of 10 minutes, and then we'll put the weight on. Okay, 10 minutes is up, and the weight's been added. Some people make the mistake of starting to time now. You don't do that. You gotta wait until your gauge is up to pressure. Okay, the pressure has reached between 10 and 11 pounds, and now it has to stay at that for 25 minutes. For pints, if it had been quarts, it would have been 30 minutes. Okay, time's up. Crystal will turn off the heat. And then remove the canner ever so carefully from the heat source. And now that is left just like that until that drops. That means that the pressure is off and the dial gauge will read 0. Okay, down to 0, and the gauge is, the safety's clicked down, took off the weight, and now it's time to open. You want to open them careful because it's hot and there'll be steam. And there they are. Now Crystal will lift them out with her tongs, one at a time, and set them here on the counter on a tea towel. because you don't want to set those hot jars on cold marble. Now they'll have to sit here all night and 24 hours, not just all night. They'll have to sit here till tomorrow evening. And then they can be washed off and taken downstairs. Now you'll notice that these do not have a hard water film on them. The reason for that is Crystal puts just a little bit of vinegar in the canner, and that keeps from getting a hard water film, kind of a cloudy looking, white looking film on her jars. Okay, we wound up with the 17 pints of carrots ready for the pantry tomorrow evening. Now, right now, these all still have their lids up. They're not sealed down, but as they cool, each lid will vacuum seal down. That's it. Now, if you like this kind of stuff, this homestead and do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homestead and stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, it's time for me and Crystal to get on to the next thing, probably tomatoes.